Samsung just outed its first more affordable phablet, dubbed Galaxy Note 3 Lite or Neo as it was known in previous rumors. It comes as a rather nice alternative to the flagship handsets of last year, as it has pretty good specs and sports the Pen Stylus with all of its dedicated apps for annotating or doodling. If you can make do without a Full HD display and want a larger panel, the new Note will certainly be on your radar. This is Daniel from PhoneArena, and let's see how the budget Note 3 stacks up next to one of last year's finest handsets, the LG G2.
These two devices have only a third of an inch difference in screen diagonal, yet the LG G2 is much more compact than the comparatively unwieldy new Note, as you can see. LG did an excellent job at trimming down the bezels, so the G2 sports an excellent screen-to-phone size ratio, which can't really be set for the budget Note. LG G2 is definitely pocket-friendly, very easy to operate with one hand compared to the phablet. It has the buttons on the back instead of on the sides, compared to the Note where the top left quadrant is still completely out of your reach for your thumb. The Note has the advantage of a removable back cover though, so we can quickly swap the battery or add more storage with it, while we have a sealed unit on the G2. We also have the Pen Stylus functionality that adds to the input options compared with the G2. It lets you draw and annotate on the phablet display, which you can do the same way with your fingers on the screen of the G2. G2 also has an easy to access way to do that with your finger on the display, but much less precision. The Note has this 5.5-inch Super AMOLED screen with 720 by 1280 pixels, which works out to a 267 ppi. LG G2 flaunts much higher pixel density, 423 ppi, thanks to its 1080 by 1920 pixels Full HD 5.2-inch display. This means that small detail is much more defined on the LG G2 than on the Note, not to mention how much brighter this screen is than the Super AMOLED panel of the new Note. Our prototype Note unit runs TouchWiz Nature UX on top of Android 4.3 Jelly Bean, but we hope to see KitKat shortly. LG has its own Optimus interface overlay and is on Jelly Bean too, still with an imminent KitKat upgrade in the waiting. On the Note, you can expect all the bells and whistles that come with Samsung's interface, like Smart Stay, which keeps the screen on while you're looking at it, and the multi-window mode that can run two different apps on a split screen in various size ratios for each application. LG has a similar to Smart Stay function too, and it lets you hover numerous Q-Slide apps on top of the home screens for better multitasking. Of course, it's no replacement to the multi-window mode on the new Note. And besides, the display size of the Note 3 Lite is nicer for multitasking. We have a new hexa-core Exynos in the Note 3 Lite with two Cortex-A15 cores clocked at 1.7 GHz maximums and four Cortex-A9s clocked at 1.3. The new Exynos is paired with a good graphics processor too, ARM Mali T624, so it's unlikely you will have interface or app lag and hiccups. This hexa-core Exynos is clocked much slower than the 2.3 GHz quad-core Snapdragon 800 in the G2 though, so the difference in benchmarks is likely to be large, and the same goes for the graphics processor. The 2 GB of RAM in both handsets, which are more than enough, but the Note offers 16 GB of internal memory plus a microSD slot for storage expansion, while the LG G2 gives you directly 32 GB, yet has no memory card slot. We get an 8-megapixel camera with LED flash on the Note, while the LG G2 sports a much more resolute 13-megapixel shooter on the rear, which can capture more detail. On top of that, LG's phone sports optical image stabilization, which does wonders to amend shaky video recording and offer blur-free shots. Both camera interfaces offer an abundance of easy-to-access shooting modes like HDR or panorama, as well as plenty of color effects you can apply to your pictures and videos. Here on the Note 3 Lite, they're arranged in a carousel mode, and we have them on grid mode in the LG G2. We won't comment on the sample's quality, as ours is a non-finalized version of the phablet, but it probably won't measure up to the optically stabilized unit on the G2. Both handsets are able to do 1080p video recording with fluid 30 frames per second.
If you want a larger display than the one on the G2, the budget version of the Note 3 is a decent choice, but the screen size advantage is very small, yet the LG phone is way more compact and easy to carry. If you don't need the S Pen Stylus functionality, the G2 is better in almost every other aspect compared to the budget Note, as it has a better screen, it has a faster processor, a better camera on the back, and it's all wrapped up in this package that's actually pocketable and very easy on the hand. This was a quick first look between this prototype budget Note 3 and LG G2. For more information about these and other handsets, you can visit us at PhoneArena.com. Thanks for watching.